Welcome back, everybody, to the Running It Back Tour de France recap show for Stage 3 in the Tour de France. I am your host, comedian Patrick Ramirez, lifelong cyclist, stand-up comedian. This is my YouTube channel. This is my YouTube show. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please give it a like. Thanks for stopping by. Give it a subscribe. We actually have gained a few subscribers after the first few tour recap shows. So welcome, everybody, and thank you. We're talking Stage 3, a somber Stage 3 today in the tour. If you watched it, if you know why. If you just caught up with the headlines and the result, you probably were a little shocked to read that Jasper Philipsen is out of the race due to a heavy crash. Looks like he broke a collarbone. He was in the green points jersey sprinting for an intermediate sprint in the stage. We're going to talk about all my thoughts on the stage today. So the tour is officially kicking off. We are in the first week, and we've already seen a lot of action, and Stage 3 was an interesting one, a sobering one, a tense stage. So let's start like we do every tour recap show with headlines of what I think was the major story today. So headlines: Jasper Philipsen crashes out. We have a multiple crash stage. No breakaway in the stage as well, besides a very small effort to get the one KOM point by UAE team. So Jasper Philipsen's crash out. The headline of the day, obviously sprinting for the intermediate sprint point. He's in the green. You all saw the video by now probably, but he collides with Bryan Coquard, falls heavily. He was the only one to fall. Coquard keeps it upright. There was a rider to Coquard's right that kept it upright. Milan, who it looks like Coquard was reacting to, who's in front of him, kept it upright, and no one behind crashed. And I think like anybody who watched it live, as soon as they saw Philipsen sitting on the ground the way he was, I think you knew he was out. There was no discussion that, oh, he's going to remount. It was no chance. He was out. It was going from the highest of highs 24 hours ago with the Alpecin team winning 2 stages in a row, winning the jersey, changing the jersey over to a teammate, to your main guy is out of the race. Your main sprinter is out of the race, and we don't know the potential of the injuries if it is just a collarbone. This is one of the harsher realities of the tour, is that it can be over in a second. Stage 1, Filippo Ganna was out about halfway into the first stage, and his tour was over. And Philipsen, was having a great tour stage, great tour in general, is just out. And I was thinking about Jasper Philipsen, the emotions that these sprinters have. All the riders have these emotions. It seems the sprinters have the highest highs and a lot of times the lowest lows, I think, because watching the Netflix documentary Unchained from last year's tour, Philipsen at some point in the bus goes into full-on cry mode because he didn't win one of the sprints, and just the immense pressure that is put on these riders from sponsors, from team, from management, but also from themselves is huge. So I can't imagine the range of emotions Philipsen is going to go through the next 24 hours, and maybe even through the rest of this whole tour as he watches it on TV. I think everybody felt bad for him. Everyone was bummed out. Everybody knew right away that the implications that his tour was over, and that's it. And now Alpecin has to reset, has to reboot, has to rethink this whole tour. Now they still have Mathieu van der Poel, one of the greatest cyclists in the world, on their team. But, I mean, he was doing plenty of work for Philipsen too. The goal was to win that points jersey. And now everything is shaken up. And with the time trial coming up, I by and large think Alpecin's goal was to do well until the time trial. So I think we're going to see a shifting of Alpecin's goals, and I do think results after this time trial. The other interesting thing, after we saw Philipsen crash on the broadcast, we see the teammates react to it. We see teammates go back into the group. They're explaining to other teammates what happened, what they saw, and then reconfiguring their plan for the rest of the race. Like, who are we sprinting for? How are we going to organize ourselves? I've likened cycling to imagine if you're watching a football game and the entire game was the 2-minute drill. The players call the plays, the players organize themselves on the field. There's no substitutions. And that's kind of what cycling is. It's everything is done on the fly. So such a huge monkey wrench, such a huge disappointment right in the middle of the race to your main guy. Think of the reset that you have to make in motion, in real time. I felt bad for everyone involved, and just the emotion of one of the Alpecin guys just goes up to Coquard, who caused the crash, and kind of gets in his face right away after it. I mean, we watched the video. I don't think you can fully blame Brian Coquard for that crash. He was the initiator of it. Of course, I see that, but I don't think there was intent. I don't think he sprinted out of his line. I don't think there was a big deviation. So the range of emotions we saw on this stage, and we're only on stage 3, was huge today. It was a real come down of a stage. Leads me into my second headline, multiple crash stage. Like, that was one crash. We saw a crash on the final corner. We saw a crash in the run up to the last couple of Ks. Remco goes down again. I saw his jersey was a little cut up, so he touched the ground. He didn't lose any time. He was within the 3-kilometer rule. Well, actually, I think it was 5K today is what I heard on the broadcast. And then after the race, they're recapping it, the broadcast on Peacock, which I watched. Christian Vande Velde looks like he just came from a funeral. He is speaking of the disappointment, the riders' attitudes, what's going on during the race, during the wrap-up of the stage, which I started the broadcast with about 150K to go. And at one point, Christian Vande Velde is on the back of the motorcycle, and he's saying how boring the stage is right now. Like, there was no breakaway. The peloton is cruising, and you think about that, some of the slower days of the tour are some of the most dangerous, because now everybody's legs feel good. The peloton is a bunch as opposed to a line. Today was the most evident of that. And flipping it to the winner of the stage, Tim Melier, whose Soudal Quickstep team really needed a morale shift today. And it's funny, they got it, but I don't know if they fully got it. Because Remco crashes and doesn't lose time, but he crashes and rolls in slow. Tim Melier had no support in that sprint. He did all that on his own. So to judge how high Soudal Quickstep is right now, I don't think you can fully say they've turned the corner. It's interesting. Put that on top of the headlines we read about Remco wanting potentially going to Ineos again, potentially going somewhere else. There seems like to be a lot of turmoil. It's just a rough way to have a good attitude on this team, and we're in day 3. Remco has not had to prove himself in a mountain stage yet. He hasn't had to depend on his team for something important. It has not gone the way Soudal would have liked to have started. That being said, it hasn't started well for a lot of teams. It just seems the most evident with Soudal. Last headline I had was no breakaway today. I didn't understand it. Racing is aggressive. There's always a breakaway. There's always a big fight for the breakaway in the first hour, sometimes of the whole race. Nothing today. The only thing we saw was the UAE rider going up the road to get the 1 KOM point so he can wear the polka dots instead of his teammate Pogačar tomorrow. And he went out the front. They all let him, and then he came right back. So that was a whole different way. I've never seen a breakaway quite go like that. It was like, go get the point, come right back to the group, and then we'll try and organize for the final. So those were the headlines today. Not a lot to say about the stage other than kind of non-bike stuff going on. The broadcast was good, I thought. It was a hard way to kind of tackle a tough subject after the race. Brent Bockwalter and TJ Van Garderen had their insights pointing to it. It's hard, I think, as a non-sprinter. Like, it's funny, non-sprinters or sprinters don't usually get into broadcasting post-career. It's weird how it's always GC guys who get into broadcasting post-career. The mindset of a sprinter is totally different than GC guys and helpers and things like that. So I think it's hard to wrap our heads around, like, the risk the sprinters are willing to take and in this case, in the middle of the race for an intermediate sprint. That was stage 3. I'm glad it's behind us. I'm sad we lost Philipsen. I'm bummed out for Alpecin that their attitude, their dinner table, their bus is going to be so bummed out, and it just feels like probably they're going to go through a shockwave in the next 24 hours. It's good that they get right back on their bikes in the race tomorrow, but it's going to be a test of their team, I think. Morale, the camaraderie, the teamwork of it, and management. This comes down to management. Can you motivate your riders for the next 2.5 weeks that they still have to go? Okay, let's move on to the second segment of the recap show, the USA Report. That's right, we have 5 American riders in the Tour this year, and I thought I'd just recap what each American rider does every day. It's early in the race, but I noted down Quinn Simmons is doing a lot of work to help out his sprinter, Jonathan Milan. He's in the middle to front of the race. Like the race starts, he's straight up pacemaking from the beginning. He did a few spots where he was getting Milan from the middle to front of the group. I mean, put in a lot of effort, a lot of calories burned by Quinn Simmons in a helper role today. Beyond that, all 4 of the other USA riders all finished in the group today. Non-issue, non-incident as well. And it got me thinking when it comes to American riders in the Tour, when was the last time we had an American sprinter who was of that elite European level? It's been a while. It's funny that American riders are typically GC or time trial guys, but we usually don't get an American sprinter into Europe. It would be interesting if we produced one of those and how that would stack up for American cycling, for the teams, potential sponsors, if our guy was a sprinter. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Are there any American sprinters on the rise here in the U.S. that could compete? It might be the hardest version of the cyclist to produce because you either have it or you don't. So I hope the American riders have a good tour, because by and large, we've got a helper for Jonas. We've got a climber in Palace. Quinn Simmons, helper on the flats. Will Bard, I'm not exactly sure his specialty, or Neilson Palace, who I know is a great rider. I would say a little more in the climbing all-rounder state. So USA Report, TBD. Keep an eye on everybody. Tomorrow will be interesting to see how the USA Report shakes up. Tomorrow looks like a fun stage. All right, so moving on. Next category of the recap, winners and losers. Winners today, I had Tim Melier, not Soudal Quickstep. Just Tim Melier is a winner of the day today. He won the stage. He needed to win. They needed to redeem themselves as a team. He had to do it on his own. Remco fell on the ground, didn't lose time, but fell again. I'm going to say Tim Melier, winner of the day. That's a big day for him. And he said in his interview post-race how hard it was with the headwind to really plan this out. And if you watch that replay, especially the overhead shot of all the jockeying, all the fighting he had to do to get a good wheel, to be in position, it was a great pure sprinter effort and win today. And even then, it came down to the photo finish. Jonathan Milan and him go down to the line, and he wins by just a nudge, by like a tire width, but he knows it. It's interesting. He knows it right away because he puts his hand up, and Milan knows it right away that he lost. He shakes his head. Down to a bike throw. So close. Great way to end a sprint, though. 2 going head-to-head. If you ask yourself, what's your favorite way for a sprint to finish? Like, photo finish all the way. 2 titans going head-to-head and then with a bike throw. Like, I love it. I love it. I love the looks of their faces, too, when they don't know who's won. It's just sheer question, uncertainty. Tim Melier, winner of the day. I also got this one as a winner of the day. The Uno X rider, Soren Warrensgaard. Uno X, lower division team. He got 4th today. Remember, he got 3rd on the opening stage as well. He scored a big win, I believe, in Paris-Nice this year. Unknown rider, and here he is mixing up in these sprints with the biggest sprinters in the world in the biggest race of the world. He got fourth today. There's more sprints coming. Really good start to him. We haven't talked about him once because he hasn't really been in the front potentially for the win, but he's been there 2 sprint days in a row. So I'm calling him a winner of the day as well. Okay, losers of the day. Of course, it's Jasper Philipsen. Could not have had a worse day, crashing out of the Tour. We know that. But also put Brian Coquard in our loser of the day. Not because I'm assigning blame to him for the crash, but post-crash, he got yelled at by an Alpecin guy. He went back to his team car at one point, and I think Phil Liggett was speculating, like, is he going to carry on? Can he race? Does he feel bad? Is he going to get completely bullied in the peloton now? I really think he had a bad day from that. He sprints erratically. This is not a new thing for Coquard, that he's a bit of an erratic sprinter, but he didn't mean to crash anybody. He didn't deviate that much. He was reacting to the wheel in front of him. So I don't blame him for this crash, but I think he's going to get a lot of flack. He got a lot of flack the rest of that stage. So I'm going to call him, he's one of the losers of the day. He lost today, even though nothing completely of his fault. I'm not going to say he's completely void of blame, but I've seen far more egregious sprint finishes than that. It'd be interesting to see if he gets what the UCI or the race commissioner calls a yellow card, which they give to cyclists. I didn't hear that he did as the end of that race. Okay, so that was the recap of it all. I thought I'd go through a quick recap of our media. I've been following along other races, other YouTube channels, views, my favorites, The Move, the Lanterne Rouge, and Chris Horner's The Butterfly Effect podcast. I've been tracking their numbers. And the numbers yesterday were really interesting. So I looked at today's, and as of now, recording this 5:57 p.m. Central Time, The Move, which is also on Peacock, which is on YouTube, which is on iTunes, was at 8K views. I thought that was a little low right now. Lanterne Rouge, their recap show, which is on YouTube and on Spotify, their YouTube show has 22,000 views right now. And as of now, Chris Horner is yet to upload his video today. I'm surprised The Move has this little views. Maybe this Peacock show that they're doing every single stage after the race is splitting the audience. But then they brought up today that they were number 1 on the iTunes charts. So they might just be splitting their views, because I don't know another American recap show other than Horner's that is anywhere near this sort of production, this sort of approach to recapping the tour. I thought their show was interesting today because they do a good mix of having the casual conversation, letting it flow where it needs to go. And they got onto a discussion about reality shows. And George Hincapie brings up the fact that Lance Armstrong was on a reality show. And he did not react well to that statement. He did the classic Lance thing where he goes, hey, we don't need to talk about it. Hey, let's just say this. And he sort of tries to move on, but he doesn't give any information that we want. Credit to George. He goes, can we spend some time one day just talking about what your day-to-day was like in there? Like the world of Lance Armstrong, I think, is endlessly fascinating, because I watched that show. I found it interesting. It was funny how he's the old guy now, and he doesn't sort of get the nuances of young people. To his credit, he's just there to win and compete, which, surprise, surprise, Lance is a huge competitor. And the other people wore him down. And he said, thank God for Marshawn Lynch, his one friend on the Martian pod that he hung with. Like, let's get Marshawn on the Move podcast for a stage. Just one stage. You can say what you want about Lance, but what you see is what you get. I don't feel like there's any difference of a man than what you hear. I think he says it all. I think you need to be objective with him. I think there's things he holds back. There's things he has to hold back to protect his past, to protect him. But when it comes to racing and stuff like that, I do find him to be very honest. That's why I like the show, even though half of it is just ads. Hey, what are you going to do? They're providing free content. You got to have some ads in there. Flip it to Chris Horner's show, has one sponsor, and all he did was hang a poster behind him, and that's the sponsor. Chris Horner, the podcast of the people, and just hangs a shingle, records something, puts it out there. Go watch it. So that was stage 3 in the tour today. And now stage 4, I want to spend a little time talking about stage 4 because I'm really interested in this. And I'm glad a few shows yesterday talked about the Jorgensen move that could have been. And I think we might have a chance for something like that tomorrow because stage 4 is 174 kilometers. It's listed as a hilly stage. And here's how it wraps up in the final of it. It's a category 4, followed by an intermediate sprint line, followed by a category 3, followed by a category 4, followed by a category 4, finishes with a category 3 and then 5 kilometers into the finish. So I would say on paper, this has got Van der Poel potential. This is a fit Van Aert potential to it. There's no doubt. I think Pogačar tries for this stage. He's been sitting in the wheels, very patient. We've had more Jonas attacks than Pogačar attacks so far this year. So I'm really looking forward to some fireworks. So now let's say that Pogačar's probably going to go for it. Van der Poel's going to go for it. You know who's on alert is Remco. You cannot lose time on this through a dumb mistake. You cannot be not in the top 10 positions going into that final Cat 3 climb if it's narrow again. And depending on, are we going to have a breakaway? Are they going to have caught the breakaway by then? Say someone slips off the front. Say a Jorgensen slips off the front with another Vokalon type or an Alaphilippe. Like this 5 years ago, this was an Alaphilippe stage. Can he be competitive tomorrow? Like, this is a really nervous stage. And the fact that it's 3K or category 3 climb followed by a 5K into the finish, that shakes it up big time because someone who is not a GC guy is got to think, if I can make it over, I've got a chance. I can slip off the front. Maybe the GC guys look at each other. There's a million scenarios going into tomorrow's stage. I love it. That is going to be one, like, I'm not going to miss that last hour. So to me, that's our most exciting stage so far of this. I hope no crashes. I hope nothing dumb. I hope no we still haven't had a protest yet in the middle of the street. So good for you, Tour fans. And the Tour's full on. The tour has kicked off. And then we'll have the TT in stage 5. Then we got a true race of truth. And I wonder how that's going to shake up. We've got tomorrow first. Let's wait for that. And then the TT to really shake up the cards and see who's got what in the legs. It's a longish time trial too, so we can get a good test of this. And also, what crazy TT tech are we waiting to unveil? Giro, Specialized, what goofy helmet are you going to stick on your riders? What weird socks? What weird bike? Aero bars? Aero bottle? I'm ready for a weird innovation in the aero bottle world. Could happen 2 days from now. But first, stage 4, tomorrow. So, I hope you're enjoying the tour. I know I am. This has been the recap show from the Running It Back Network, where all my shows are on this YouTube channel. If you've made it this far into the show, go watch another video. My stand-up comedy is up there. I've got my setup from Zanies a few weeks back, not to mention all my comedy shorts as well. So go check it out, everybody. Give it a like. Get a subscribe. Again, thank you to the new subscribers, because we've got a few. Keep watching. I'm going to be recapping every single stage. I'm all in, baby. So for me, Patrick Ramirez, for stage 3 of the tour, this was the tour recap on the Running Back Network. Enjoy tomorrow, everybody, because I know I will. See you then.